I'm going to be ranking every single Clash Royale evolution in this game on this tier list. Let's go. Alright, starting with Evo Skeletons, always a solid choice. I'm probably going to plot in A. It's in my main deck. Always great value just for one elixir. It goes insane, man. They're going to have to force a small spell. If you play it right at the right time, it will always do damage. Next up, Firecracker. She is also very good. Pressure, but I feel like you can always counter her, right? So I'm going to put her in B. She's not like C tier. I feel like most evolutions in this game are pretty damn intense. But Firecracker, I know. I feel like a lot of low skill players use her, so maybe that's why I don't rate her as high. But getting that guaranteed damage, you can outplay a Firecracker very well. Whereas with Skeletons, as reference now, it always forces out Elixir, which is a lot higher. With Firecracker, you have to play her right, and if you put her behind a hog, you can still defend it relatively well. Next up are the Barbarians, and well, they used to be good at the start because they were one of the only evolutions, I guess. Oh, I don't feel like they get much usage. You just don't make them get a hit and they're done. So I'm going to put them in D. I know that might be controversial, but D tier it is for them. I am not too happy with them. Next up, Royal Giant. Oh, this is a rough patch right here. Royal Giant itself also used to be good at the start, but once again, the utility of him is just not that much better. I won't lie, than the normal ones. Are they better than? Is he better than Barbarians? No, I'll put him worse than Barbarians. None of them deserve F tier, I think, but I'll put him in D as well. Evo Mortar. It's a force to be reckoned with. I can't lie. Very, very strong. Better than Firecracker? Yes. Better than Skeletons? No, I would argue. Always forces out Elixir. That extra damage compared to the normal Mortar is just insane. Whereas compared to the Royal Giant, where all he does is knock back opponents. He used to do more damage and have more HP at the start, but they kind of made evolutions more balanced and better by just reducing all the extra stats and actually just giving them extra utility. But this one, it just feels like extra stats because the utility is insane, just giving an extra Goblin every time. You can obviously outplay it, but that applies to everyone, apart from one, actually, I'd argue. I'll talk about it later. So yeah, I will put him in quite a decent slot. Next, Knight. We were just talking about OP at the start of utility and stuff. Oh my god, this one used to be crazy. Now, still a very solid pick, right? Oh, I don't know if I can put him C. I'll put him B. Better than Firecracker, yes. Better than Mortar. Oh, I don't know, man. I'm going to put him in B tier, in between the two. He's just very good. He had a fall off, I would argue, but he fits into most decks. Good stats for the cost, just, yeah. Knight does Knight things, right? Royal Recruits, the only saving grace to recruits themselves. Fairly decent. It's really annoying to play against. I suffer until against these bad boys. Do I think they're that amazing? I just think they're not as good because you have to cycle normal recruits first play. So I like going against them, and then the Evo recruits can be damaging, but in double elixir you can kind of handle them, I guess. So this is tough. Oh, I'm gonna put no, I'm gonna. Man, I just think Firecracker's not actually that good. You know what? I'm going to move Firecracker. No, I can't do that. I can't. I'm going to put them in C. I just don't like normal recruits. I'm sorry if you disagree. Well, actually, I'm not sorry. I do think they're annoying to play against, but I don't. Actually, no. They are better. I'm sorry. I can't. Firecracker, you're going down. She's, yeah. I don't know. I just don't feel like she's the one. Next up, Evo Bats. Oh, they're just. Oh, I don't know. They never feel amazing. They have like beaten a couple of times, me especially, even when I had Royal Delivery, because that's my Royal Hogs deck, is my main one. Those bad boys, they do hit even if you have counters to them. But then again, they have to get that hit, and even it's annoying if they put a tank in front, obviously, but I don't know about Bats. I don't think they're that great. I'm going to put them after the Firecracker. Next up, we have Evo Archers. Annoying with Expo. Used to be incredibly annoying with Goblin Giant back when I played a lot. Now I'm getting back into it. So Evo Archers, I'm not going to say they're the greatest. But once again, I feel like they're on the same level to like Firecracker. Great utility, right? But Firecracker is arguably more annoying. archers, they can be more annoying than bats. I feel like that sniping ability, that long range, feels a lot more hectic than just bats have to get a hit and they're quite short range. Obviously, they put a lot of pressure on, but archers, you can kind of surprise your opponent, whereas with bats, they can find an answer to it, is my opinion. Ice Spirit. Now. A lot of people are going to disagree with it, right? Because they're going to think, why have you put recruits down there or whatever, or whatnot? Because I'm gonna put it in A as well, right? And this is why. I'm gonna put it above skeletons. It's so OP at defending, right? I'm not ranking these based on how annoying it is for someone who's not like a pro to play against it, because obviously royal recruits are annoying to play against. But I just think as general utility yourself and offensive capability, regardless of your opponent, Ice Spirit is just insane at getting those positive elixir trades, and that helps offensively as well. If you have that amazing 1 elixir defense, you can just rebound attack, right? And this thing can counter so many things. It's helped against everything in my deck. It's so underrated, I feel. Yeah, that's why I feel like it's amazing. And the last card is, I would argue, very similar, but I don't know if I'm going to rate it as high. We'll get to that though. Evo Valkyrie. Amazing, man. Logbait players love this card, and for a reason. That and Evo Ice Spirit together is probably the best defensive combo in the game. It can counter everything for 5 elixir. It's absolutely insane. Oh my god, any push you put into this, you're gonna struggle. So you need to track the cycle of these cards a lot more than any of the others, I'd argue. Evo Valkyrie, definitely gonna put it up high. I'm gonna put it above the Ice Spirit because I feel like she is very, very good. Yeah, I feel like she is better than the Ice Spirit, arguably. Just because you can get that incredible utility as well. It's like an Ice Spirit, but instead you can actually counter more troops in a way as well. Obviously, if you have more synergies, it could work out differently, but I think she's very, very good. Evo Bomber is next, and this one is also a menace. The better Evo Firecracker, arguably. Is this the first S tier? I think it is. It's so good and so annoying. It's like a better Magic Archer as well. Evo Firecracker, Magic Archer, they just can't play against this bomber. It's just a low elixir card which can snipe from far away. It's absolutely insane. Huge damage. Obviously, it got nerfed a couple of times, but still, I think it's an absolute menace to deal with. Offensively, defensively, it's meh, but the offense is what really matters. You need to get those hits, right? That's why Valkyrie, it would be an S tier if it gets guaranteed, like, good hits. But no, I don't think it does. Oh, thinking about that, though, Firecracker's looking more and more appealing because it's offensively quite menacing, too. You know what? I'm going to put it up, and I'm going to put the Evo recruits... No, I'm going to keep them there. I'm going to put Firecracker above the recruits in B tier. Firecracker, I've kind of talked this through, and logically, I feel like Firecracker is also pretty menacing to play against. That guaranteed damage, well, not guaranteed, but you know what I mean. It's pretty much guaranteed. Can get very frustrating. So I'm going to put her up there. I've changed my mind. So now you can delete that comment if you're starting to hate on me because of that. Maybe, I don't know. There's probably going to be some wild comments probably saying I failed to cook and... possibly, I don't know. This is just my perspective. But next up, we have the Evo Wallbreakers. Just meh. Wallbreakers themselves, pretty great card, but you're not going to play the Evo Wallbreaker version of them, I would argue, in most decks if they have other evolutions, which are possibly better. I'll put it in bottom of C tier. It just doesn't feel that much greater than the normal Wallbreakers. And... well, I haven't had much trouble playing them. Obviously, if I play an amazing player with them, then it could be tough. But I haven't really experienced that. I haven't seen it anywhere on YouTube or whatnot. So I just feel like they're meh. They probably are very, very... well, they probably are good. Better than bats? Yeah, I'd argue so. Better than archers? No, I wouldn't say so, actually. I wouldn't. So I'm going to put them in middle of C tier. Next up, Evo Tesla. Very, very good defensively. But then again, I don't like buildings as evolutions, right? Because you're going to be forced to play it. And it is good in certain hog decks or whatnot. But I don't think it's that great, okay? If you're a hog main yourself, you're going to disagree with this list, obviously. That's why I myself put Evo Skeletons up this high in Evo Ice Spirit. Just because they force out that much elixir or just get great defenses for low elixir. which Tesla can do. It can stop huge pushes and can absolutely save your butt in triple elixir. But then I just don't feel like it's that amazing. It got nerfed a couple of times, so there's less and less waves. I just don't see it that well. I'm probably going to put it in bottom of C tier as well. Not in D tier with those two, but still pretty bad. Also, I know barbarians are good with like Lava Hound or something, but then I need to stop going back to them. I feel like you can agree with that rating of them. Although it does kind of feel wrong because they can be very good. Next up is Evo Zap. I don't know why I did that. The Zap is just, it's not that great. It does help and it can be good in certain decks, but when you're rating Evo Zap, it's a spell, right? It obviously does its job very well, but then it's just underwhelming, right? You can expect what happens. You can't do crazy plays, if you know what I mean. So I just don't see it being too high. I feel like it's good, obviously, but I'm gonna put it in bottom of B tier. It does its job very well. You can't complain with you will play it and you can't complain. Next up, Evo Battle Ram. Now this one has always put a lot of pressure on. It just, the fact that it kills like skeletons or something you place in front is crazy work. This might be a mid-ladder opinion, even though I'm technically not mid-ladder. I don't know, some would argue. I've been complaining about stuff, but anyway. Evo Battle Ram, very good, I would say. Would I put it up in A? No. B tier? I could see B tier. I could see top of B tier. Very, very good card, and once you get that out and you do some bridge spam with it, it can be very menacing to most players, or pretty much all players. If you don't save the right cards for it, you're screwed, right? That's why I love Evo Ice Spirit, because it can just slow everything down, slow that battle ram down, and you can finally counter it without it running through all your troops and just bashing your tower like crazy. Okay, next up, Evo Wizard. This also revived the Wizard. Absolutely great card now with the Evo version. In some decks, you can play it in top ladder, actually viable. So definitely great version of the Evo, right? If we're ranking the upgrade from the normal to the Evo card, I'd rank the Evo Wizard higher. But then I still don't think it's the greatest Evo in itself, right? It gives it spell protection, which is amazing. But other than that, it hasn't done crazy stuff. I have a log in my deck, so I'm always referencing to my deck myself. And it's not too difficult. In general, also, I would say if you just have a small spell where you can kind of bait it out, the shield popping, then it's fine, right? It has some defensive viability in it, don't get me wrong, but I feel like it's just there. It's a shield that pops. It's great value, but I don't... It's a wizard card, so the normal version is pretty bad. And that just brings down the Evo in itself, because they have to play that card before twice just to get that Evo. Wait, twice? Once. I'm tripping. Alright, next up we have Evo Goblin Barrel. What a menace as well. Definitely at least A tier. I'm gonna put it above the Evo Valkyrie. Just very hard to defend, right? Even once again, my deck, it has so many counters to it, right? Log, raw delivery. It's just still overwhelming, and that chip that it does over the course of a game saves log bait. It's one of the reasons why log bait is so high up in the meta. Definitely A tier. I'm gonna put it definitely A tier. I'm gonna put it in S, bottom of S tier. Well, bottom. There's only one other in there. Yeah, just a great card. Very hard to play against. It forces out a lot. It's just, you can outplay as well with it. It's a cool card in itself as well, and powerful. So yeah, definitely S tier deserved. Now, Evo Goblin Giant is also very annoying to play against. Very, very rough. What would I do here? I'm probably going to put this into A tier. And yes, it can be counterable. Although, no, I'm not going to put it into A tier. I'm going to move it down to B and chop up the Battle Ram, right? Battle Ram, I think, arguably is better than him, the Goblin Giant. So, yeah. Evo Goblin Giant just forces out Elixir. Defensively, hard to counter as well. Yeah, just spawning those goblins after a certain threshold is very annoying and frustrating. It in itself, actually, you know what? Double take. I'm going to move it down behind the zap. Just all the way down through the whole B tier and just chuck it in there, right? I don't think it's that menacing. Also, Knight, I'm going to chuck it in behind the recruits, behind the zap as well. The zap is good too. You know what? I'm going to switch it up quite a lot here. I've rethought it. Knight itself, not as good as it used to be. If you've got like a mini tank, you can defend it really easily. And yes, it can be overwhelming, but that mini tank, it's just a normal Knight at that point, right? So, yeah, I'm not going to put it in top of B tier. I'm just going to put it there now. And Goblin Giant is actually, Goblin Giant's better than Evo Knight, I would argue. I'm changing it up a lot as I go. I didn't, like, pre-think this. So you can maybe see where my train of thought is going here, because Knight actually isn't as good. You probably thought that initially when I went for the Knight. And Goblin Giant is pretty damn good. So I'm gonna rank it like that. Now, Evo Goblin Drill, right? It's Goblin Drill is always a great deck to play. Now, would I put it up really high? I mean, it's a lot better than normal Goblin Drill, obviously. And it does force out a little bit, but it just takes a while to get to the actual Evo in itself. I wouldn't say it's anywhere near as good as Evo Goblin Barrel, but Evo Goblin Drill is also very, very decent. If the opponent doesn't have the best cards against it, it can be done for them. So I would put it in top of B tier. Now, Evo Goblin Cage. Pretty damn crazy card. Love it. Love the Splash Yard version of the deck that he is used in. Just great at countering mid-ladder decks like Mega Knight. And just big pushes as well. It's very, very good. Obviously, if the opponent knows how to play against it, it can be a lot tougher to use it. It's still very, very good. And Goblin Cage in itself is a decent card as well. I did say I didn't like buildings, but he kind of has that cool ability where it just completely renders one card useless unless you push hard into it. So I would, well, hey, yo, pause. So I would put it into the middle B tier behind the Evo Mortar, I would say. Now, next up, Evo Pekka. Oh my god. A force to be reckoned with. I thought he'd get a worse nerf than what he did. His nerf wasn't too bad. He still heals quite a lot. Great in this current meta against Logbait and stuff. Just brought Pekka back into its prime. Amazing card. You can't deny the S tier. Would I say better than the other two? No, I wouldn't. It's very hard to play against and can be very overwhelming. Yeah. I'm going to put... Ooh, this is tough. I'm going to put it above. Yeah, I'm going to put it above. I have to do it. It's just very, very strong. Most people can't figure out how to beat it. Even pros are struggling with it because it just off-balances the game so much. And yeah, you're going to have to put a lot of elixir in the right way. One mistake, it's all over. And they can just build up push on that lane or even split lane with him on the side. It's insane to work against. So yeah. Next up, Evo Mega Knight. This card can be so frustrating. It's just a really, really good card. You can't deny top of A tier, I feel like. It's not quite in the S tier, mainly because buildings just shred him in a way. So if you have one, which you should, in most decks, it's going to be hard to beat him. No, it's going to be hard not to defend him with that building in a way. So I'm going to put him top of A tier, very, very good, and can be very versatile. But I don't think he can creep into the S tier. Next up, Evo Electro Dragon. Very, very strong card as well. The Infinite Chain can be very, very good with beatdown decks or whatnot. Now, would I put him up in A tier? I'm not going to put him in S. I will probably put him in A. Very, very, very strong. Can just chain. Obviously, if you know how to defend against him, it can make it a lot easier. I'm going to put him above the Battle Ram. Yeah, in A tier. Just a very, very strong card that only requires one cycle. And yeah, if you let him chain, it can be over. So you need to really thoughtfully plan out your defense, which can be very tough for example, triple elixir, where you just got everything coming at you. Like if a full-on golem push is coming at you and they have an Evo E-Dragon there, you're gonna struggle, because you're gonna have to dissect the push by putting the card spread out enough so that he doesn't chain, and you need to take him out quickly. If the opponent knows how to attack with him, it can be over for you. Yeah, so I'm going to put him quite high. Next up, Evo Musketeer. Underrated, in a way, I would argue. But still pretty mid, right? I'll put her in C, above the archers. Just a pretty mid card. She can snipe out buildings very well, but even then, it just doesn't feel that amazing. It has sniped out, like, for instance, my queen a bunch of times, and it is very frustrating. And 4 elixir for a mini tank or like a ranged unit in the back can be very, very good. Although she can miss the snipe or can be blocked, although I've rarely seen that. So I'm not going to say she's in C because she can be blocked. I just feel like she is not the most amazing card. It's a cool concept, but I just don't feel it's overpowered. I feel like it's a good evolution baseline. If everything was like at her level, it would be amazing. Maybe put Pekka down to her level and it would be a great game to play, but it still is. It's just a little more frustrating. Next up, Evo Cannon, a new one. I didn't even know they released evolutions which aren't in a pass. Very confusing to me at first, because I just came back and I didn't realize it's more than one per season, which was crazy to me. So you can only get it by purchasing with $10. That's pretty damn crazy. Anyway, the card itself, not that amazing. Luckily, it does fit into my deck, but once again, I just don't feel like it's that great. It's got that full map coverage, but very niche. Building forced out. It is good, don't get me wrong, but it's like C-tier good. And I would put it above the wizard, below the wizard, but above the musketeer. And you know what? Knight, he's going down. Knight is not that crazy. I'm not going to lie. Actually, the more and more I think about the Knight, the less and less I rate him. I'm going to put the Evo Wall Breakers above the Knight. I'm going to put the Evo Bats above the Knight. Evo Tesla above the Knight. And something like this looks a lot better. Archers are just falling, and I feel like they're not as good as well, because they used to survive arrows, so I'm just thinking back to Prime, but now they don't. They're just not as good. That's why Firecracker is not that great either, because she can not survive arrows anymore. But I still feel like she can be annoying, so I'm going to rate her here. I'm going to keep her there, but Knight fall off. Yeah, I initially just was a bit out of my mind rating him. So yeah, that's some adjustments I just made. And last but not least, the Evo Snowball. Great card, new card, so we can't completely know where it's at this point. I would definitely put it into an A-tier contender. Why? It's like the Ice Spirit. I feel like it's a little worse though. This might be a hot take, right? Actually, no, wait, it's not worse. It pulls the troop in front of the main tank, right? If they build up a big push, pulls the balloon, for instance, in front of the Lava Hound. That is insane work. Actually, very, very good. I'm going to put it above the Evo Ice Spirit. But Evo Valkyrie, when I played it, I didn't find it that amazing. Obviously, I kind of saved the card with spells. That's the thing with this certain one. With Zap, I would be more lenient because it has like hard thing. What was I even going for there? It has like good things to hit. Like for instance, if I see a Goblin gang, I instantly zap that. With the Evo Zap, it doesn't matter. But if I see a Goblin gang on its own, I don't instantly Evo Snowball it. That might just be a me thing, right? But I feel like I want to get more out of it. I need to wait for like a bigger push. But I feel like with Expo, this thing is nasty. I feel like we're going to see it this season. I'm feeling a lot of things. But Evo Snowball, I'm going to put in 6th position. I feel like that's a fair ranking for it. It can obviously fluctuate now because we don't know where it's going to be at in the meta. They might nerf it. They might buff it. If they buff it, it will be a lot better. I hope they don't buff it. But yeah, amazing utility. Got a pretty big radius, and I can see it being very, very clutch, as can the Evo Ice Spirit. I feel like the Evo Ice Spirit is a tiny bit worse, but is very, very good. I feel like it's I know you're probably commenting about Evo Ice Spirit being very high, but I think it's amazingly good. So I'm going to put it like this. This is my full-on ranking. Yeah. Now, let's see what you put in the comments, guys, if you agree with all of these. I feel like this is a pretty based ranking. Feel free to flame me in the comments, though. Thank you for watching, and see ya in my next video. Goodbye, and don't buy Evo Pekka. Stay strong.